I just really can't believe that you actually opened up your mouth and you said that if that white man had shot that black woman, she would have gotten what she deserved. Not even Chem 123 with all of his Mr. BBC bullshit ever had the nerve to come out of his face and say some crazy shit like that to me in all the years that I knew him. Wow. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's me again, Truth Teacher, coming at you with another video. And in this case, this is a response to Art Benaca. And it's a video that is long overdue. It's taken me a long time to do this because this isn't exactly a pleasant thing or something that I wanted to do. You know, the thing about it, you know, where Art Benaca is concerned, where you're concerned, Art, is that you just really didn't get it, you know? You know, this whole situation about this woman, you know, pulling out that gun on the black woman and her daughter. There were just so many things wrong with that situation. And each and every one of them just kept going over your head. But the part that really gave me a hard time was your statement that if the white man had shot that black woman, she would have gotten what she deserved. And for the life of me, I just cannot begin. I just cannot begin to wrap my head around that line of reasoning. You know, and the thing that's really insane about it is that rather than admitting that you were overreacting, that you were wrong, you kept trying to justify your position by making video after video after video. My position was this. I don't know what happened initially to make that woman and her daughter that angry. It would have been nice to have some video. Maybe the woman was overreacting. I don't know. But you know what? When I saw that, I knew what I wasn't going to do. And what I wasn't going to do was fall into taking the bait of casting this woman in the angry black woman trope. Because that's what this society loves to do, you know? No matter what happens, whether a person is justified or not, as soon as, especially if it's a dark-skinned black woman, you know, we try to negate what's going on. Oh, well, you know, that's how they are. And I was not going to do that. I'm not going to go automatically and throw the black woman under the bus because I don't know what the whole situation was. What I could see is that the woman was very upset. She must have had a reason for being that upset. But what didn't help the situation was what could have diffused it, like I said. If that woman had accidentally bumped into her daughter, she didn't mean it. All it would have taken to diffuse that situation is, I'm sorry. It wasn't my intention to do that. I'm sorry. That was it. But she didn't do that. She just stood there really smugly, you know, refusing to apologize. And of course, like tempers were, everyone was upset. I don't believe, like I said, I don't believe that they deliberately tried to run that black woman over, nor do I believe that that black woman tried to jump behind their car. I mean, that is just ridiculous. Nobody in their right mind would jump behind a moving vehicle when you're in their blind spot. For what? You're going to risk serious injury or maybe even death so that you can make a point? That's not rational. So neither one of these people deliberately tried to escalate the situation. They were going home, but they weren't looking where they were going. She was going back to her car. She wasn't looking where they were going. The car backed up. It almost hit her. It was an accident. It was an accident. Now, the woman was cussing them out and carrying on. Under the best of circumstances, is that the ideal way to behave? No, it's not. But you know what? This is real life. People get irate. People get angry. People cuss each other out all the time. The way to de-escalate an emotionally charged situation is not to pull out a gun. And it certainly isn't to kill somebody. I mean, did you actually hear yourself speaking? You are trying to justify shooting a woman just because she was being loud, just because she was being verbally abusive. Okay, that's not a nice thing to do, but does that deserve a death penalty? Stop and think about that. I mean, that point just kept flying over your head. And I'm just at a loss. I'm at a loss for words. I just cannot wrap my head around what you could possibly be thinking to advocate such behavior. And then you're trying to justify guns rights and all of it. There's something really, really, really fundamentally wrong with that train of logic. This is not how we behave in a civilized society. People argue all the time, yes. People get irate all the time. People lose their tempers all the time. What kind of world would we be living in if every time someone exchanges words, somebody else whips out a gun? And even though I explain to you why I feel as deeply as I do about this, the fact that I grew up in the Bronx seeing people getting killed because they just didn't have the level of emotional maturity to deal with an interpersonal conflict. I grew up seeing people getting killed. I had to leave my country because of people getting killed, people who do not deserve to have guns, people who are not emotionally or psychologically equipped to have guns, being armed and taking out their anger and frustration on people because they have a weapon. And here you are, not only advocating for that and saying that this is all right, but you're trying to justify it. And at the time, and at this period of time in this country's history, where we're seeing people of color, not just Black people, but people of color in general, being killed for no reason, unarmed people being killed. The lack of sensitivity on your part was just utterly appalling. And all I can say is I'm just deeply, deeply, deeply disappointed in you, because I held you to a higher standard than that. But you showed a side of yourself that, boy, you showed a side of yourself that needs some really deep healing. And I'm not going to be going back and forth, making video responses. I'm done. I am done. I saw a lot of things about you that I greatly admired, and I think that you do have a lot of admirable qualities, but this aspect of yourself is, boy, no, there's something seriously wrong there. There's something seriously wrong there, and I cannot reconcile that. I'm sorry. I just don't, I can't even put it into words that you could let that come out of your mouth at a period of time like this. That a Black woman deserves to get shot by a white man just because she was being loud. Like I said, I don't know why the woman was carrying on the way she was. I don't know, because there is no footage of what transpired in the beginning. What we're seeing in that video footage is a reaction. But like I said, all it took to diffuse that situation is, I'm sorry. I've been on the receiving end of that kind of abuse myself, because I accidentally stepped in front of somebody, or because I accidentally bumped into somebody. And what I did, I'm sorry. Now, did I deserve to be cussed out and, treated in that manner? No. Was the reaction far more overblown for what it was merited? Yes. But it was a situation that was easily remedied. I am sorry. It wasn't my intention to do that. What have you done to me? You haven't done anything to me. So why on God's earth would I go out of my way to disrespect you when you have done absolutely nothing to me? And it was only after that being that pointed, that they could see, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I just thought that you was, I understand, but dude, come on now. You ain't did nothing to me. I got enough shit going on in my life. Why am I going to come out my house and just deliberately fuck with somebody for no reason, especially when that person hasn't done anything to me? And that's how I diffused the situation. She could have done the same thing. But once again, like I said, what I cannot condone is your stance. Where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? And then on top of that, you're trying to paint me in, you know, in this, oh, well, you would say that because you're pro-black. And you know something, in a rational world, why should me having love for my own people be a bad thing? You know, pro-black, why should that be a bad thing? But in the minds of the people that you got this rhetoric from, it is a bad thing. If I was East Indian and I was, you know, advocating for my people or proud of my people, or if I was Asian, or if I was any other ethnic group, it's not a problem. But pro-black, the minute you start talking positively about people of African descent, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I guess everything was cool between you and me when, you know, I was calling out the dysfunctional elements in the black community and busting them on their bullshit. That was cool. But the second when I have to call out a white person on their bullshit, now all of a sudden I'm pro-black. And by calling me pro-black, that's not a good thing, because what you're insinuating is that I'm some kind of radical, race-hating kind of person. And I'm not. I'm not a pro-black, and the only reason I say that is because in your mind, you're equating being pro-black with being anti-everybody else. I am extremely, extremely proud of my African heritage. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go and put anybody else down to build myself up. I'm not gonna put down white people. I don't hate white people. I acknowledge my European ancestry. I'm not ashamed of it. It doesn't make me less than, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. I acknowledge it. I acknowledge every part of me that there is. But I have to be realistic and acknowledge the fact that I live in a world where when I walk outside of that door, regardless of the fact that I am also a person of European descent, the world that I step out into, outside my door, does not recognize me as such. And even if they do, they don't care. Not only do they not care, but they feel highly offended, because what I represent to them is a contamination of the white race. And for other people that may be bent out of shape because I don't identify as black and I identify as mixed, and I make a point of identifying as such, that's why. Because I refuse to placate anybody's fucked up ego because they want me to pretend like I don't exist. They want me to pretend that my family history and my lineage doesn't exist. Fuck you! I do exist. And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it, and I am not apologizing. So if it makes you feel upset at the idea that your precious white race is contaminated, fuck you! I don't give a damn. I do exist. I am not a contamination. I am not pollution. I am a human being, and I will acknowledge my truth. I will claim every aspect of my ancestry. African, European, Middle Eastern, Jewish, all of it. I claim all of it. So I'm not here putting myself above anybody. Absolutely not. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am not a conservative. I am not a liberal. I am none of those things. I stand for humanity and I stand for justice. And when I see injustice, I call it out. I don't care who the perpetrator is. And I called you out on your bullshit. Because that what you espoused comes from a very dark and very hate-filled place. And I am extremely, extremely disappointed in you because I expected more from you than that. And you let me down. And this is why all this time I have not responded to you. I have not communicated with you. Unless you can be the big enough man to admit the fact that you were wrong and that you have some work to do, there's no friendship between you and I. There can never be. If you are the kind of human being who thinks that it's okay to kill somebody in cold blood just because your feelings are being hurt, just because you're being dressed down, just because you're being talked to, how can you and I be friends? I can't be friends with someone who has that low regard for human life. I can't. And then you had the nerve to show a video of a black man breaking up an argument between a white man and a black woman. I bet you wouldn't have a problem with that. Yes, I do have a problem. I do have a problem with that. Because why the hell you got to pull out a gun? I appreciate him for standing up and defending that woman, but be a man. Why you got to be a bitch ass and pull out a fucking gun on somebody that doesn't have a gun? A man your size, if he went to go attack that woman, beat his fucking ass. But you don't gotta bring out a gun. You don't have to make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. There is a deep sickness in this country, in this society. And this whole situation is just bringing it all to the top. It's bringing it all to the surface. There is a deep emotional and spiritual sickness that we are dealing with as a society. And the thing to do is not to sit up here and be self-righteous and try to make excuses for wrong behavior and take a side, pick a side, pick a side. God damn it, at the end of the fucking day, we are all human beings. What are you not getting? What are you people not fucking understanding? Look at how we're living right now. We're living in a crisis that has never, it's been unprecedented in the history of the entire world, in the history of humanity. We are all human. This thing out here, Corona, makes no discrimination between age, between race, between sex, sexual preference, political parties, nationality, none of that. At the end of the day, what really matters is our lives. What matters is humanity. What matters is trying to make this world a better place for all of us, not just for some of us. We all got to breathe the same fucking air. What are you all not getting? What are you not understanding? It's not about this one against that one's better. No, we're all in the same fucking boat. We're all in the same boat. So I am not going to take the side of anybody who is taking a depraved indifference to human life. I'm not going to do that. And the fact that you cannot get that, god damn, like, wow, really? You know, at this point in my life, nothing should surprise me, but god damn it, you know, this world just never fails to disappoint. So that's all I got to say on this matter. Boy, you fucked up. And you got some work to do on yourself. You have some real deep spiritual soul searching to do. You got some work to do. Because there's no way on God's green earth that you can justify so smugly taking another person's life that flippantly. And anybody who would argue for that, there's something wrong with you. There's something very broken inside your soul that needs to be fixed. That's all I got to say. I ain't going to be making no going back and forth. This is all I got to say on this matter. You're wrong. You're wrong. And you need to go and fix that. Something inside of you is really broken in a very fundamental way. For you to be able to say something like that and persistently go out of your way to try to defend it. You're wrong. That's it. That's all I got to say. I'm out.